You had some interesting stories, right? You recently completed a short film, right?
Yeah. This weekend, for my film production 2 class, we had to shoot our last project, and I was the DP. So I was really excited and really nervous as well because we're shooting on film. And the thing with film is that you can't really, I mean, if you screw up, you basically screw up and you don't know until actually you get the film back. And so there's always that nervousness of that. And you really hope like you nailed everything. So I was really excited about doing it, like I said, but anxious as well. And we had our first film day Friday. Everything went well. We actually finished a little bit ahead of time. The crew was great. We had our lead actor, who, he was okay the first day. Got no bad vibes from him or anything like that. So our second day, we were shooting outdoors again. Our first day was exteriors, and our second day was exteriors as well. Shooting in the same place, but we were shooting in front of a bodega. And the call time for the actors was 8:30 p.m. or 8:30 a.m. We'd been there since 7:30, waiting for him, the main actor, to show up. And at 8:25, the director gets the call saying that he's sick. He's been throwing up all night, all morning. He's not going to be able to make it. He ate some red meat. He normally doesn't eat red meat. Messed up his stomach. And
Colitis. I know what it is like.
The director was finally able to talk to him and talk him into coming in and shooting for a couple hours. So he comes in. To me, like I've been drunk plenty of times in my lifetime. I've had plenty of hangovers. I was in the military. I've seen hangovers. I've seen hangovers when you have them on the job. I know what they look like. And that looked like a hangover to me. That did not look like food poisoning. And the fact that he said that he had stayed the night over a friend's house, that's why he was actually able to get to the set fairly quickly when he made the call.
Yeah.
So
the last thing in the fucking world you would do if you had food poisoning is stay over your fucking friend's house.
Well,
hey, I'm gonna be fucking shitting up your toilet all fucking night.
It's been a long time since I've had really bad food poisoning, but there's no way you could have gotten me to go anywhere with it. Like, there's just no way. Like, I mean, like, even if, I mean, it would just take like some horrible event to get me to leave the house when I had food poisoning. So I just felt like it's sort of a BS cover for you being, drunk, hungover. You had too many drinks last night. You got like, it wasn't the shakes, but that queasiness that you have.
Right.
I mean, that's what he looked like he had. So he showed up, and made comments to the crew about like he was a good person for being here. And my reaction was like,
the best.
Really? Yeah, you're a great person.
You did 2 hours out of a fucking probably 12-hour day. You're the best.
Sounds like the cries of an insecure person.
It was just like I said, like when you're shooting a film, you want to make sure that, and we're doing handheld, so I really wanted to make sure that my shots were downright, my movements were great, that my frames were on point, and I wanted to rehearse this. Like, honestly, I wanted to rehearse it 5 or 6 times, and if we rehearsed it 10 times, I would have been like all the better for it. Like, I just wanted to rehearse this, make sure that we nail this.
And you're doing it on film, right?
Yeah, doing it on film, and I'm doing it on a lens that I have to maintain 5 feet between the person at all times, and we're moving from the front of a store to the side of the store into a 2 shot, and then back into a 1 shot of him walking away. So, I mean, it's not like an overly complicated shot, but when you're working on film, you can go back and look at what you've done.
Yeah.
You got to measure, got to rehearse.
And you're limited in the amount of time that you can shoot for.
Yeah, exactly. We only have so much film.
Yeah.
So I wanted to rehearse it over and over again. After 2 rehearsals, he was just making comments like, oh, let's just shoot this. Let's just shoot it. And the director was like, like, we got to roll on this one. We got to roll. I'm like, fine, okay, we'll do it. So we did 3 takes of it. And after each take, whenever I said, let's do it again, you could see the look of his like they're like, ugh, all right, whatever. And so we shot it, like I say, 3 times total.
Is he getting paid?
No, he's not getting paid. I
Okay.
mean, I guess you could be like, oh, he's not getting paid. But the thing is, though, you've made an agreement to
Either
do this.
do
film.
it or don't. You know what I mean?
exactly.
Don't
You already,
do
I
this
mean,
fucking
you already
in-between
started
thing.
too, though.
And it's
Yeah,
not like
the
he's
whole
a
day's work.
SAG actor or
Yeah,
he's like, he's got a lot of projects under his belt. He's from what I saw and heard come out of his mouth, this might have been like his first time actually on a set working with a crew.
Right.
So he was just shitty to be around with that
no way.
day. Gave us only, I mean, like if he was seriously sick, then he gave us 2 hours. Then I'd applaud him. I just don't believe the fact that he was actually sick from eating red meat.
Right.
And
I
even-
woke up
even
at a
if you were-
friend's house. Come on.
Yeah.
Like, get out of here.
And even if you were like the red meat did make you sick, why would you eat that? Like when
How does red meat make you sick, though?
like when I'm on a film
Mad
shoot.
cow disease?
You like when you know you're gonna work actually throughout the day. I love to eat. It's probably a little bit obvious, but when on a set, I know I can't overeat. I know I have to be careful because I have to last the whole day. So if I gorge at lunch, I'm gonna be a piece of shit. Like an hour after, I'm gonna want to sleep. So and even during like a film shoot, you have to pace yourself and you have to do your best if you're serious, if you give a shit. And if you don't give a shit, then you do whatever, eat a bunch
wasn't
of
like you had
weird
the
food
shits,
and
right?
get drunk, you know what I mean?
he didn't have the shits. He was
Because
just,
I've dealt with that my whole life, and it's just like a bout of like 20 minutes. It's like, I need to take off for 20 minutes. I'll be right back.
there's a lot of him like leaning with the one hand up against the wall,
Yeah.
which to me says hangover,
Yeah,
or him
totally.
squatting up against the wall, squatting down. It's just all red to me, hangover.
Yeah, food sickness is not like that.
You'd be puking and
Yeah,
green.
and you wouldn't want to move at all. You'd be like sitting down in a chair maybe.
Yeah,
or-
like I say, he had sourpuss. That's the best description of like his whole attitude and his look. And the director couldn't give him direction because he was just in this miserable mood that you weren't going to be able to like, okay, on this one, I want you to be more energetic. I need more energy from you. It wasn't going to happen. So that day was it wasn't a waste. We shot some stuff, but now the director is going to have to change his story somewhat because it's supposed to be like a sympathetic character. You showed empathy for him. Now it's going to be basically like a youth, today's youth that just is, apathetic.
Oh, I did a film called Atlanta College Prophets, and at the time it did all right. It was released in 2005. It was in all the movie galleries and Hollywood videos, and I sold it to York Entertainment, sold in quotes. They took it and they put it, they sold it to, at this point, it's probably 8 or 9 other countries. So online, if you look at Atlanta College Prophets, I've collected all these weird posters. I mean, not just poster art. And there's a German version, a Russian version, there's a Thai version, yeah. There's a
awesome.
Spanish version, which is just called Land of Prophets, but in Tutira Profetos, or I'm terrible, whatever. So anyway, this film, the only reason why I mentioned that stuff is it was a film that actually was released, but we had about a $12,000 budget, and we hired, I'm not going to use names. I like everyone on set, but I'm not going to use names. So we hired this one actor bodybuilder. And
I think that narrows it down so much that
right. But so the
I get you.
the actor was on the set. I think they had showed up the first day, and then we had a night shoot, and it was the big fight scene by the well. We built this 3-story wishing well, this crazy looking thing, and there's a fight beneath the well, and basically the actor. It's like hours go by. He's not showing up. We finally get a hold of him. Actually, I'm sorry. I believe he no-shows that entire day.
Okay.
And we
shot around.
I think, there's maybe 2 or 3 hours go by. And we're like, what the fuck are we going to do? We cannot do a makeup shoot. When you're shooting a movie in 2 weeks, there's no such thing.
Yeah.
So you have to figure out a way for that scene to work. So made a few calls. Phil Garrett, who I was directing with, also directing with Mike Aransky, who works for IGN now, got this big guy to come to the set. Now, he was an awesome guy, but he was kind of a heavier guy.
He was a fatty.
He's kind of a big fat guy. I mean, not really, but I'm fucking whatever. So he's like 6'4", kind of a big fat guy, and awesome. And so what we have to do is block the entire scene. We shot the whole fight scene.
What do you mean block?
Block means just where you're putting the cameras during the scene.
Okay.
So we basically have to do weird things. Shoot over the shoulders, shoot people punching him like from behind or in the gut.
So you do the same. You do the same scene with different angles. Is that how it works?
Yeah.
And then you splice it together. Is that?
Well, that's what we did. We shot the whole scene.
That's awesome.
With a body double, meaning you never saw the main villain's head, and so we're like, oh my god, fuck. Okay, so the next day goes by. I think he shows up. He shows up late, like an hour late, but he's actually there. And we have all his regular stuff that he's supposed to do.
But he showed up an hour late the next day.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure, yeah. And so what we did was we grabbed him, put him in similar makeup, because the guy was like blue from head to, his whole upper body was all blue. And we literally
from lack
took
of oxygen?
shots.
Why was he blue?
It's just his character turned,
Oh, I watched it. I never mind. That's it.
We shot cutaways and inserted him into the entire fucking scene that we shot that whole night. So we're shooting from the shoulder up. Okay, you're getting hit in the gut. And he's like, okay. And then you turn around. Okay, you get hit in the face by the manhole cover. Okay, you do this, we do that. So we got all that stuff.
Yeah.
And then editing, cut it together. You'd never fucking know. It all cut together. But the only thing, there's one or two shots where someone's like, he's moving back or something. And you can see one shot, he's like fucking jacked.
Oh, yeah.
And the other shot's like, gut. You know what I mean? And you can barely tell, but...
He can splice it together, so it was like...
Yeah. But it was like one of these things where... And the other actors on the set were pissed. Like, one was like... He had a lot of trouble taking the time off to do the film. And this was like the only night. And I was like, don't worry, we're going to shoot it. And so we just had to do it. So it was a situation where we had to do it. And it ended up working out, so... But the truth is, if he had never shown up, we
that's gotta be fucking stressful.
It's incredibly stressful. There's thousands of dollars on the line,
and all these people with schedules.
They're all angry, and they're looking at you because you can't shoot. And so, but the thing is, even if he didn't show up, the character eventually dons this helmet.
Yeah.
And what we would have done is get someone else in there, put the helmet on, and figured out a way. Like from the footage we shot the other day, to make a match shot where he puts the helmet, cuts to someone else putting on a helmet.
To think to know what you have to shoot, to think that far in advance, that's amazing in my mind.
It can be complicated.
That's why it takes an army to make a movie. I mean,
fucking awesome.
Have all kinds of people thinking about different things. You know?
That's what I love about this fucking podcast. I don't know. I've never in a million years would have thought. I just watch movies as like something to like escape to, not even think about it. And then watching a movie to see what they're doing, how they did that is just, it's a completely different it's a different beast. I can understand now why you would watch something again.
Right, to see, to pick it apart.
I never really had the urge to do that, because for me it was just the start to finish, the emotional ride that you go on. So
well, I think the best movies, you do kind of just forget all that, and you fall into it.
Yeah, you don't want to. I mean, if you start seeing the wrinkles and the what was covered up, then the movie's probably not working. Like if you're like, I noticed that editing.
Yeah, I noticed that you do that. If you notice
those things, then
you do that.
It's probably not a well done movie. It's whenever it feels seamless and you get lost into it. That's a movie that's really well done. But I find myself a lot of times too, like, where's that light coming from? How do they like that? Or what's going on here? Yeah, it makes you watch a movie in a different way.
Definitely does.
Yeah, I mean, there's been other instances where people have turned in performances that, I mean, being nice, they didn't match any of the other performances, and we actually on set had to figure out a way to narrate or write around and eliminate the parts or reduce the parts. You kind of have to go through the motions, because you don't want to be like, okay, we're cutting this scene. Thanks for coming.
Well, you might get magic.